People have always asked me, do you hate Muslims? And I said, I think the testament to me was my upbringing. My mom and dad always raised me to be a good human being. And I remember it was probably like 2 years after 9/11. I was still living in Clifton, New Jersey. And it's literally at the end of Clifton, where I lived, the next town over was Patterson. And that's where some of the hijackers were. So we have a large Muslim population. I remember going to pick up my daughter Bianca at the school, and as I was pulling up, there was a woman about to cross the driveway into the entrance of the school, and she was Muslim. And she had her Muslim attire on, and I had the right of way. I was going to make a left to pull into that driveway, and I saw her like stop to look at me, like, you know, and I said, Will, for a second in me, I was like, fuck her.
Mm.
And then I realized that's not who I am,
Yeah, yeah.
and I can't be that. I can't be that hate, that evil. So I stopped the truck and I said, "Man, go ahead." I let her walk by. And I said, I won't hate a particular group because of what a small group within them do,
Mm-hmm.
because that's not good advances in any way, shape, or form, in a good way.
I mean,
My mom always encouraged me. I mean, my parents came from Barranquilla, Colombia. I always tell people if they don't know where Barranquilla is, where Shakira's from and Sofia Vergara, but they're the better version looking people than I am. But, they came here with the dream of every immigrant. And my mom told me, you know what? We're gonna come here. We're gonna remember our heritage. We're gonna fly the American flag. We're gonna learn English. But most importantly, we're gonna get good people. And my mom always said, how with this country we deal with so much with minorities and racism and this. And my mom said, I don't want to hear about that. I want you to be raised as a person that's a good human being.
mm,
That's how you represent our family.
mm.
You represent our culture, and eventually, as an American, you're going to represent this country. And that's what, on that day, when I had to make that choice, was my upbringing. And I think today, what we fail at is being able to do what we had time for back then. I mean, right now, today, we have these that disrupt our lives all the time. But to be able to sit at the dinner table with your children, instill in them, know what's going on in their lives, and hammer it into their head about being a good human being,
Yeah,
what that is.
yeah.
And they were good examples. My dad was always just a good example of a hard worker. I don't want to hear excuses. You know what's right, what's wrong. My dad always told me, he goes, by 12 years old, if you don't know what's right or what's wrong, I fail as a parent.
Mm.
And he said, you know what's right or wrong. And it's hard to do the right thing. It is hard. On that day, there was a side of me because, I thought about my friends that I lost. But at the same time, I'll be like, my friends would, because they're all good guys. I could not, Christopher Amoroso, just who you portrayed in the movie, just a solid dude. Dominic Pizzulo, who gave his life up trying to get me in the Sergeant Al. Antonio Rodriguez, who switched spots with me before everything, the buildings came down, just trying to be a good team member. I said, those guys would not be mean or be nasty towards someone because of what happened. And so I try to, instill in others what has been instilled in me, and that's be a good human being. And it's hard because there's temptation. If there's $1,000 sitting there, and nobody's looking, are you going to take it or you going to leave it? And again, are you going to be a nasty person to someone because something bad happened to you? No, because those individuals that are good people that might represent a certain group, they just want to live their lives. And that's what I tell people is, if you think about it, throughout the world, we see all these wars going on. The majority of people just want peace. They want to grow up. They want to be able to see their kids grow up and get married and have grandchildren. I guarantee you, and I had that because serving in the military, going on to 11 different countries, the one thing I always learned was people are people
That's right.
everywhere.
Yep.
And people really want to be able to have a good life and not have peace. And then you have, unfortunately, politics and people that want power that ruin everything. But for the majority of people, on 9/11, when we ran into those buildings, we didn't say, hey, we're going to save the white person, not the Muslim.
Right.
No, you just save people because, and I always get that question asked, what did you see the most on 9/11? And people always are shocked. And I said, you know what I saw the most of? Love. When we were heading from the police desk through the concourse, there was a steady line of people coming out of Tower 1. And I still remember all these strangers helping each other.
Yeah.
And I tell people, listen, there were people of different backgrounds, religion, race. I saw a black man with a white man carrying a blonde woman who had a severe cut on her leg in a single file line. And I said, I guarantee you, if we were to sit down with those people, they had different political views, probably different views of people in general.
All that shit goes out the
They
window.
were all helping each
Yeah.
other. through speaking engagements, not only do I motivate first responders, but a lot of schools I go to, I just try to tell people, listen, we're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect. If you look back in time, there's always been racism, there's always been rape, murder, and it continues to